thought they had banished us forever. But now... finally... we have returned.
Welcome back, everybody, to a Stream Team writing discussion. This time on kind of a couple of different subjects, i.e. science fiction / inspirations within science fiction, and time jumps. Likely the time jumps will be a slightly smaller topic of discussion, but it will be interesting nonetheless. Alrighty, allow me to bring in my guests, starting with Johan.
Is everything ready? Do it. Thousands of souls extinguished by the push of a button. Understand, Yuri? This is only the beginning.
Welcome.
Welcome, indeed. This is only the beginning.
Indeed. And please welcome Count Valerian.
Shafka reagis anhan reagis andati.
Her Majesty's satanic request, whatever that even means.
Let's go with it was David Benioff's insane lunatic ramblings when he was drunk off his ass.
Well, we kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet.
No! So, the inspiration thing, since Ninja wanted to talk about that, I wonder if we should wait till he can come on, and they can't come on today.
I'm happy to do that, actually.
So for that particular aspect of it,
It's understandable.
Would that be the sporting thing to do?
Yes. You mean by like inspiration of like science fiction? You mean like dieselpunk, steampunk, cyberpunk, and all that stuff, right?
I think we were talking about fantasy worlds and how, the cliche is that it's medieval Europe. Oh, shut up.
Oh, that shenanigans. Yes. It's always like, well, we're back in medieval Europe while we're having a gun and a laser beam technology invented. Woo! What will ever go wrong with the society? Oh wait, nothing will happen to the society on this impact on this scientific research. Jeez.
Yeah. So like, because it tends to be medieval Europe, and he was talking about being influenced by like other. Why don't people do more various cultures like the Americas and like India and I don't know what all.
You could technically take it like the First World War II idea, like dieselpunk, or you can go for cyberpunk, which means like this root technology increase, hackermans being around, droids being created with tentacles that can kill people by snapping their necks. I don't know, something like that. Or you can go even further, like the atomic era, like nuclear fallout and all that stuff.
Yeah. Now, in terms of science fiction,
for science.
One fact people might not know is that C.S. Lewis was a little bit of a pioneer in terms of, because in his day, science fiction, the literary establishment at the time was pretty hardcore realism / high modernism. And science fiction was considered, just like along with fantasy, it was very much marginalized.
Hello, James. Aw.
Oh, are there humans in here?
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That's a shame. But please continue, Balerion. I'm now even more interested.
Yeah. So he and some of his friends were trying to. I'm sorry, I haven't properly prepared this.
No worries, no worries. Neither do I. So we're professionals at work.
Hmm.
Yeah, as you can tell, very
Yeah.
much. So I have to go by memory of what, and I'll have to go and grab the book in a moment, but I can't do that now because I'm doing something else.
Ah,
But what was I saying? So, and he was talking about like the different types of science fiction, relating it to fantasy, and he also produced a fairly what was at one point at least a decently well known science fiction trilogy. I don't know if it's so well known now because now he's kind of exclusively associated with Narnia, but actually did quite a lot of other stuff.
question: if you're going into a world where you learned more technology and then go back into an older, if you're from the future and then go back in time, is that then still technically called science fiction or not?
I would say yes.
Yeah, I would say time travel.
So if don't get me wrong on this one, all right, but I have played Empire Earth quite a lot, all right, and one of the main campaigns was that this Greek guy was sent by the goddess to go back in time to help a tribe thrive. So he tried to create the technology that was necessary to give these people the power to overthrow the tyrannical, other chieftains, other tribes, with technology that he had. So if you have like Bronze Age and then you go from Bronze Age back into the Stone Age, would you then consider that technically sci-fi or not?
I would consider that magic at that point.
Okay, interesting. So where do you draw the line then?
I would say it kind of relates to how they are going back in time.
So if you have literally, I don't know, very easy one, the guy with the guy with the with the guy that turned the Germans into dinosaur German reptilian people, and then go back in time and take over the world. That fucking plot from Iron Coal or something. I don't know. It's a ridiculously stupid over the top movie where everything is German. And Germans get killed.
Oh, yeah.
Where they build a base into the moon. That one. Fucking ridiculous. So you would say like with technology people that are able with technology to go back in time or develop such a technology to increase or create new creations that were not possible before. Like back in the drawings where you have like the idea of walking on water by floating devices, or I don't know, hoverboard. Because if you look at, for instance, people of the 18th centuries, they thought way different upon, technology, about the future. Like, what will you learn? Well, apparently you can put headphones on people's head and then have the children learn the school teaching by that. It's like, well, we do have headphones now, and they are technically invented. Damn. Or the what was it one? The one that they were paddling on water with bicycles. Well, that thing actually exists nowadays, which is not as impressive as you think it is, but it is still impressive nonetheless. It's rudimentary, but it's cool. Like you can just paddle, and then you go around the swans and be like, I am one of you. I'm gonna make pictures now. That kind of stuff. Or what was the other one again? Electricity. Yes, the fear of electricity. Thinking about what could electricity do to the world? Oh God! That kind of idea.
Yeah.
like producing giant mechanical spider monsters that eat people alive. I don't know. That is actually one of the pictures that I can be on top of my head. Like, yep, that's the picture I saw.
Yeah. So we were asking, like, what is the where do you draw the line between science fiction and fantasy? Is that the question we're
Yes,
asking?
that was
Yeah.
my question, and I was rambling on because of it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's actually a good question.
So,
Because
would you say like you could draw the line with techno? Oh, sorry.
Larry first. Thank
Sorry.
you. Go ahead.
yeah, let's see, because that's one of the things that C.S. Lewis talks about that too. Because sorry, I'm trying to find the bit where he's talking about it. Where science fiction, in certain senses, represents the same impulse that gave rise to fantasy, but within the conditions of our time. Oh, where is this section?
Wait, in conditions of our time? Do you mean then? Does he then mean that actually, if you have the technology now, and you look forward to the future, that is actually then where you draw the line? Like, okay, so if I use the technology of today, and then make it times 11 or times 10, whatever, then that's what you can consider science fiction. But if you don't do that, it's no longer science fiction, but then it is fantasy.
Well, he divides science fiction into a number of different subspecies, and some of them like clearly have little or nothing to do with fantasy, and others are kind of like the application of fantasy to our modern technological condition. For example, one of the ones that's not very much like fantasy is like the engineering type, where people try to imagine, what if we had tanks? That was I think that was H.G. Wells. What if we had tanks? And then of course we did have tanks, so that got kind of obsolete. And 20,000 leagues under the sea. What if we had submarines? And then we did. So that's one subspecies, and there's others having to do with speculation about the destiny of our species.
So,
like what will happen to our species in the future?
So, if I'm understanding correctly, science fiction is described as extrapolation based on what could exist in the real world, versus fantasy is stuff that extrapolates on stuff that's more mystical and without any kind of basis in reality.
Yeah. However,
Go ahead.
Sorry. However, the other point he's making is that there's a kind of a blurred line in certain cases, because his own subspecies is, as he puts it, it represents simply an imaginative impulse as old as the human race, working under the special conditions of our own time. And he mentions how one of the magazines at the time was entitled Science, Fantasy and Science Fiction, bringing them together, bringing stories about space travel, but also gods, ghosts, ghouls, etc., demons, monsters, and so forth.
Combining them both then together.
Yeah. And then he mentions in some fairy tales you can go just an hour's journey and you find an ogre or a witch, but then later on, for example, under Homer, you have to go several days' journey in order to meet Circe and the sirens and so forth. And then eventually, in the 19th century, you go to unexplored Africa and Tibet for various bizarre things. So eventually, you have to leave the Earth altogether, which is what C.S. Lewis ended up doing, taking people to Mars and Venus. And then he talks about using a pseudoscientific apparatus. It's kind of a pseudoscientific apparatus, which is basically a plot device. He calls it a machine, but I think what he means by that really is kind of like a plot device. So just the merest assault to our intellect will do, he says. And eventually he started using frankly supernatural means, which kind of gets rid of the line altogether. He has angels bringing his hero to Venus.
Ah, I see. But then you would say, like, if you pick the aspect of engineering as the main source of a sci-fi idea, like the philosophy around engineering, about knowing what you do, making it logical, making it feel logical to the reader, and therefore, explaining it quite easily. Like, all right, well, we created this big giant machine. It's called a Mac. And what does it do? Well, it destroys all those aliens over there. And how does it do it? Well, it has a lot of rockets on it with nuclear reactors inside. Huh? Why? Yeah, we made mini nukes out of them. Ah, cool. So yeah, and then you blow the little Schmitz to smithereens, and then you collect the biomass to feed it to the bioreactor. Ah, cool.
Yeah.
That explains all. So that is one of the sci-fi, and then the other one is called then, if correct me if I'm wrong, the philosophy way. Like, all right, we're now 10,000 years after humans finally colonized Mars, and we are looking for ourselves again, by clones, by lots of clones. We are sustainable on this ship that is slowly transferring to a new world without any knowledge of whatsoever. And then you have this whole conversation about the ship and how it works and how the people are reacting, and if this is humane, and what are the people eating on it? Are they eating the clones that died? I don't know, that kind of shit. And then you have like ways to tell the story of an ordinary person while telling about like what is humanity, what does humanity feel like, where can I find it, what is the meaning of it all. I think that is then the second part, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, there's things about what will be the ultimate destiny of our species. Things like,
yes,
they leave the Earth, that human beings ruin the Earth which we're kind of doing, yes, and then they have to leave to another planet. And then they come back and they find all these bizarre creatures and vegetation all over the place. And at first they're talking about, let's clear this stuff out, make it inhabitable again. But then they say, you know what? We messed it up the first time. Let's just leave it to the creatures that live here now. These various bizarre mutant creatures that live here now. Let them have it.
And then the third one is probably a very easy one to understand, like Frankenstein. That is actually a sci-fi combined with fantasy, if I'm correct, right?
I guess it could be, yeah.
I think it's more science fiction horror. That's my
Yeah,
sense.
there's an element of fantasy, I guess.
Well, it's just because it's crazy sci-fi tech that is basically magic.
Yeah. I mean, the examples are things like C.S. Lewis takes people to Mars, and he meets these various species, but there's not much emphasis on the technology that he meets, like archangels, and it's all fit in with like the Ptolemaic, Aristotelian, medieval cosmology, which makes it really interesting because he's applying that as a model.
Like if you take, for instance, Red Faction Guerrilla, it's all about Marsh and the rebels, and that it is actually ruled by a corporation, and then suddenly the people that are working there are like, hell no, we're not gonna leave our homes because you want to make a dig site out of here, and then shit goes nuts, and then and it goes nuts big time. But the military police coming in, shooting people, rebels everywhere, things blow up, and then the second time it goes again, and then the military police is like, all right, we're gonna send in a big giant battleship that is gonna destroy the whole fucking face of where you just lived from out of space. How are we dealing with this? Yep. Probably some rocket science we need, yeah, but we don't have scientists here anymore. They all died.
Oh, bother.
And then turns out that the Marauders are actually the scientists. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, some of the difference is just a matter of I must cast a summoning spell versus we need to recalibrate the warp coil. Sometimes it's just a matter of shut up.
Ring, ring, hello. Ring, ring, hello.
You have been disconnected.
I love
Yeah.
you, Johan. Never change.
Yeah, thanks. I took that from Charlie the Unicorn because I know that is actually a very good one.
I don't want
Good
to
joke.
buy your crappy product. Shut up, not you. Unless you were the one who just phoned me. Wouldn't it be right if you did? If all these
All right, I have an amazing product then for you. It's called Star Wars.
oh no.
So this is all about a science fantasy thing where we have very soft magic where people can do force, and this force is magical that can pull people or pull objects toward each other, or can choke persons to death if you are very angry. It is all
Yeah.
about the emotion. The emotion makes it stronger. Or if you are strong-willed, you are able to resist it as well. So yeah, it's great. It's great. But
Yeah,
first
maybe.
things first, space travel. We don't do it about the rules, all right? We're just gonna be going bunny hopping from one place to another. Amazing, right? And nobody's gonna bat an eye.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Star Wars is kind of like what C.S. Lewis was talking about with fantasy applied to science fiction, but on a much more superficial level than what he's doing.
Yeah, it's very down to earth. It's like, all right, meditation makes you strong-willed, and those by training that meditation, you can transfer the force. The idea of like, all right, force power. All right, how do I do this? Well, you need to concentrate, and then you can lift the object.
Yeah.
And then you also have lightsabers, which are quite cool. It's like, I have a big giant sword that can slice through metal. And then you play the goddamn game, and it's like, I cannot even slice through a goddamn shield. What the fuck is going on? Where is my decapitation? Eh.
Yeah.
This is also true.
Star Trek tended to be on a bit of a deeper level, maybe, than Star Wars. Although even there, you've got some howlers. Anyway, anyone saw that episode of Voyager where they go warp 10 and then they turn into giant slugs and they mate?
What?
I'm not
So
making that up.
you did. So it's technically like when that movie where this guy invents a time machine in the 19th century and then fucks up the whole fucking timeline because apparently monkeys are now existing.
Monkey.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know which one. I don't know how the movie is called, but this guy invents a time machine and everything turns to shit because of it. It's great.
Oh.
It was very scary back in the day when I watched it, but I
True.
think it's the same with the dude that kills a giant bird and then uses those birds then uses the bird wings to create a glider, and then tries to escape a prison or something stupid. It's fucking Vegas shit. That is a great example of very much both science fiction and fantasy.
Yeah. Unless it's hard sci-fi, I've always considered sci-fi and fantasy to overlap. Pretty much.
I think the best one to go for overlapping with fantasy and sci-fi would be steampunk, technically, because then you still have technically magic inside of it, and you have mechanical creatures. You use steam to create stuff.
So the elephant in the room here would be Brando Sando.
Probably.
In a lot of ways, yeah. He in at least Stormlight Archive, he has basically just created a way that magic can be used for science.
Science!
We are going to science the crap out of this thing.
Oh yeah, we have the rules, we have the things, and we have the knowledge to do so. But yeah,
we very much need to put
the idea
Martian-
the idea of sci-fi. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say we need to put the Martian on the list because the Martian is awesome.
But that too. Aliens is also a very good one.
We could watch Santa Claus Conquers the Martians at Christmas time.
Santa's coming back to town with a minigun. Ho ho ho! I hope you don't mind some little coal, my boy.
You don't like Orson Scott Card? Yeah, I know she doesn't like Orson Scott Card. She's okay to have a weird opinion.
She's okay to have a widow pain.
Okay, who is this Orson Scotty crap? I mean, chap. Sorry.
So he is funnily enough, he's actually a very prominent LDS sci-fi writer.
LDS? What does that mean?
Mormon.
Ah, got it.
Yeah, he wrote Ender's Game, which is actually one of the most influential sci-fi books of the late 20th century. I'd have to check though how long ago it came out. It's been a minute. Yeah.
By the way, guys, if you ever feel terrible,
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so he basically invented a lot of the tropes that we see in science fiction training schools, as well as introduced kind of the idea of very gritty young adult protagonists in very adult situations, and in many respects predicted the internet and online chat forums like Twitter.
Like Twitter, okay.
Yeah.
But remember, right? You also had like things like what was it again? Aliens. You know the newest one that came out where autism saves the day.
That was Predator.
I don't know. They both look the same. They act the same. They feel the same.
But well, they're both gone. Aliens and Predator have both gone the way of crap.
Yes, it's horrible. It's absolute fucking shit. But yeah, the Predator movie, the fucking autism saves the day. It's like you don't even want to explain the whole technology shenanigans, don't you? Nope. No. And that's so important with sci-fi. You want to make the people believe it's real. Therefore, you want to have some explanation upon like, oh, he creates this thing. He creates these runes to, make a kind of a beacon. And therefore, if you activate these runes by, looking into an old book of old, like, these were sightings of days before. Oh my God, I can translate this. Something like that. Simple as that. Just have a book near the product and have it translate. Find a way to like make effort upon translating it, and then be like, oh, it says activation, and then you activate it and then be like, ah, shit, should not have done it, didn't I? Nope. And then boom, missile goes straight into the house. Something like that.
Sometimes the difference is just that you use technobabble in the science fiction, and you use good old English words in the fantasy. Sometimes that's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. You want to make it believable, to make people feel like they are in this world. The same as one of the better movies that I have watched that actually implements sci-fi in a very how do you say that, in a very like what humanity means, is The Island, where literally people there is a factory where people are harvested for their organs to give to the real people. So they create a clone factory. Eventually, one of these clones thinks that it escapes and goes to the real world, and then turns out like, holy shit, they have been using us as cows. The fuck. So it's very scary. It's a very inhumane way of like, well, these clones technically don't have any consciences. That we are literally treating them as toddlers. So it's fair game. It's fair deal. You know, you needed to have a heart transplant, so therefore, you know, we're gonna harvest his heart, which is technically your heart. Therefore, you are now the owner of this new heart. It's only to $1 million, by the way, my friend. So eventually, the clone actually kills the real dude, and then that's how he escapes from the whole security shenanigans. And then he tries to figure out how to destroy the facility because he's so fucked up. Because, for instance, one of them was like, all right, you are now finally going on. You're finally being, you know, selected to go to this new island. All right, this island you're now finally prepped. You know, you're getting prepped for an island expedition to teach other people how to learn all this stuff. And then it turns out they put you on the operating table and then kill you and then harvest your organs. That's literally how it works. And the clones that are getting prepped actually are prepping the new clones that are getting made. So it's like a cycle, which is very scary to realize. Yeah. I don't know if it is actually called the island, but that's how I always remember it because, you know, people are elected to go to this island, this fancy new little thing, go on a vacation, and then suddenly be like, oh god.
Does it have Obi-Wan Kenobi in it?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. It has a popular dude in it.
It's got Obi-Wan Kenobi and Scarlett Johansson as the main characters.
Yes, it's one female, one male, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
It's a very cool movie, by the way. Don't get me wrong. It's a very cool movie. Lots of action, lots of great talking, very philosophical. Philosophy.
Philosophical.
Yeah, philosophical. There you go. It's not grim dark, but it is pretty dark, if you think about it.
Yeah, I would say that there's Starship. I would definitely say the Starship Troopers was a big thing. I think that in many respects, Orson Scott Card very much did a lot out of or at least capitalized on a lot of really, really popular things, and then was able to really codify them to a really solid book. Admittedly, Ender's Game is kind of is in many respects his best book. And then it just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going and going without end.
And what about Dune then? Is that a sci-fi?
That would be considered sci-fi fantasy because a lot of the stuff in it can't really be classified under the realm of science
because it is too like mystical.
Yeah. So it belongs to kind of the same category as C.S. Lewis was talking about, although the atmosphere is very, very different from anything C.S. Lewis would have created.
Well, it's still, you know, being in this Martian land where literally religion is still a thing, and religion is actually the thing that drives things, but that also creates this mystery, while still having the equipment to create machinery to harvest all the stuff that is necessary.
Yeah, it's got a more the surface is more science fiction-ish than what he would have done, but it's still got a fantasy element in the sense that some things are unexplained.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where the difference is. Science fiction will pretend to explain things. Often the explanations are, you know, kind of bogus, but they'll pretend to explain things, whereas fantasy will just be left. We don't know exactly how.
Yeah, we didn't know about the whole Second Fleet.
We didn't know about the Iron Fleet or Euron's forces.
No,
we don't need to explain. Just consume product and then get ready for new product.
I don't think I don't think that's quite what they had in mind when Tolkien and C.S. Lewis and those guys were.
I am so disappointed already in fucking Lord of the Rings and Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, not Lord of the Rings itself. I would say not. I should not have said that name. That's a shame for Lord of the
Everybody
Rings.
hate. Only mentally deficient imbeciles liked Rings of Power.
Oh, by the way, Don, good news. We can do a what is it called? Rings of Puder Electric Boogaloo ×2, because there is gonna be a second season.
Yeah, I don't think anybody.
There is gonna be the worst thing is Willow. You know, the one that is technically a little bit more watchable than the other one. Is like
funnier.
Yeah, it was more funnier. And the worst thing about it is that one got removed from Disney, Disney Plus, and this one, Rings of Power, is like, yeah, man, we're gonna stay, we're gonna rock this ship so hard, you're not gonna believe my eyes, mate.
Probably because Amazon. Sorry, go for it.
Sorry, what's really disappointing is that they canceled Quest.
Yeah,
Quest.
Probably to be taken up by Netflix or something.
Hopefully. Well. Knowing how Cleopatra, the documentary went,
Yeah, they're probably going to. I think after what happened there, hopefully they will not.
How many times I have to teach you, old man?
They will stop doing stupid political ideologues.
It was so fucking like, all right, we're gonna have history. Well, now it's considered fantasy because you totally get everything wrong. I don't care what they tell you in school, my friend. Cleopatra was goddamn.
Cleopatra, yeah, it's like, and even like the nation of Egypt were like, Cleopatra was white, you morons.
She was Greek by a long shot.
They didn't have these distinctions back. They didn't categorize in this way back then. So
they should have gone for a far better queen.
Well,
jeez.
Well, I understand, but it's just she's not. Cleopatra's not. Like just the nation of Egypt is suing Netflix for portraying their culture very inaccurately.
They should have gone.
She had white skin, you idiots. She was a Greek. She was not black.
If they wanted to have diversity, then go for the last Mongolian queen or something like that. Something cool, something interesting, instead of this garbage.
Or maybe for like the kingdoms to the south of Egypt, like Kush or whatever.
Oh, or Ethiopia, those kind of places.
Or do something really cool, like the story of Sundiata.
Who?
Story of Sundiata. Sundiata. Have you heard of him?
Doesn't ring a bell.
So he was an African king who was exiled from his kingdom due to his one of his father's moms, or one of his father's wives being horrible. So
being a total asshole. Yes.
Yeah. So from there, he just decided to he eventually had to reclaim his kingdom from a really evil sorcerer king.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
It reminds me a little bit of Sands of Time.
So you mean use actual African stories?
Precisely.
What? No, you cannot do that. That's illegal.
Bother.
Outstanding move. You played yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was
even in our even in back in the day in preschool, we had this book which had like all these fairy tales around, and there were such good fairy tales. It was like you had like Hans and Grietje, but you also had like things like the Iberian Prince and the Singing Bird, which was a story about this man who was fascinating about this bird that always came to his window to sing and eventually didn't came anymore. What turns out to be that his wife actually caught it and set it free somewhere else because she was jealous of the bird, that he gave too much attention to the bird instead of him or instead of her, which was quite funny. And the flying carpet was also one. Like Aladdin was not a real thing, that was Disney's thing, but there were actually things like that back in the day in the fairy tales.
Well, Aladdin is part of the Arabian Nights.
Yes. And those stories are also written down pretty much.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Yeah, and that demon story, I really like that story, and there's a really good movie about that, which we'll have to watch sometime because I think it would be neat.
Also a very good sketchy song.
Arabian Nights. Like
No. 1 night, Arabian Night. It's magic for a lifetime.
Yeah, some of these non-European veins are not exploited as they might be, but that's kind of like the subject of the thing that Ninja wanted to talk about. What countries inspire your world building?
We can still do that. We can always do that another time.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
But yeah, how much African mythology or legend is used? Not very much.
No, not at all. Not even the 5 kings. One of the most important parts of fucking Africa, the 5 kings. The elephant, the ox, the water buffalo, the lion, what is it more? The hippo, and then you have one more. And then you have and then the combination of them 5 is then the god of the wilds, and you can make such cool stories about talking animals. For fucking crying out loud, you could make such a cool journey about this dude or this woman needing to give the 5 kings a worthy gift, and then she looks around and figures it out. Like, all right, there are riddles, trials, and then you need to figure out what you're gonna do. Otherwise, you're gonna get eaten, or you're gonna get fall down off a watery cliff. You get the point. There is so much more you can do with the African, religion or history, and it's not used. It's like, all right, we're gonna make an African story. What it's all about? This woman is good and strong. She can beat anyone. Anything else? No, nothing else. Just strong and good. You like? No. Then you will get beaten by canceling.
Okay, that's actually a good example of very, very hard sci-fi.
The Martian.
Yeah, which is a good movie. Basically, the summary is this man in the far future, or decent-ish future, gets stranded on Mars and has to live.
Oh yeah, that one is so good.
Has to live on various attempts at trying to keep from dying. I think it mainly in fertilizing a tiny potato farm using his own feces.
Which is not a bad idea, if you're starving.
The Chinese did that back in the day. And it sort of makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And they actually made a really good movie about the book starring Matt Damon. And that's kind of an example where there's very everything is pretty much extrapolated from actual science, and there's very little in terms of like big crazy stuff like you would see in Warhammer 40K, where you would see hefty mech suits
Yep.
or other things like that. In terms of the of other stuff, the science fiction. Let me think.
I would say, have you ever played the game Prey?
I have not. Run that by me.
Okay. Prey is a game about a dude, a scientist, that is locked in a space station full of infected, I could say goo, that can actually mimic objects and chairs or whatever, doors, you name it. And eventually it figures out how to, reprogram sentries and turrets and all that stuff. And you have to find out what is going on with the rest of the crew if they are still alive. The main thing is about what this whole movie is trying to portray. Game, technically it's not a movie, but it's a game, but it does feel like a movie sometimes. Is about what does it mean to be human. Like, that's one of the things that sci-fi hits. All right, that's one thing of the sci-fi relates. And it turns out that you're not human. You're actually a mimicking a human. That's the whole point. And the whole scenario that you're playing is actually inside of the mimic's head, because the researchers found the mimic and gave it the memories of the dead brother of the main researcher. And the choices that you make upon saving the crew, saving some people, or doing the good stuff, the good deeds, would change the alternate ending. Like it would change the ending. Instead of going on a rampage, waking up, going on a rampage and killing everybody, or getting shot by a shotgun in the face in the end. Or, hey, this person is actually just like us, but he's not us. But, I would consider you a friend. Let's settle this. I'm sorry that we have to capture you. I'm sorry what you have going through. But, that's the whole point. But as you walk through this whole story, you see actually how horrible, how terrifying it is to notice that these mimics are actually zombifying some of the crew because it was actually first injected in one of their items, the communication device. So some of these people got injected by these mimics by their brains, and then the mimics actually eat their brains and then take over the brains. It's creepy as shit. That is still sci-fi, and it's a very interesting idea of like, all right, what is scary? The unknown, or something that you can predict?
I would say definitely the unknown.
Yes,
far are worse.
Yes, because you're getting small hints that you're not normal. First, you think that you're infected, logically. That's why you can use this magical power of these, force pool, hacking turrets from a distance, for instance. That's also one. Or, zapping an enemy so that you can stun it, so that you can shoot a shotgun blast in their face. But the hints of you being not normal are getting subtle, and constantly it's getting feed you more and more and more. But the more you realize that you're not human, the more you realize how scary and terrified these people must have been, because you hear these recordings, you see the cameras, you see all this stuff happening. It's a very good game if you get my point up on that one.
So does it involve like the question of what's human and what isn't, that kind of thing?
What makes what takes it to be human?
Yeah, because that's something where where certain forms of science fiction can because it can get away from humans altogether. Here's one that Lewis mentions. There's a story about a man who meets a female monster with a whole bunch of cubs. It's starving, and it offers them a whole bunch. They're obviously starving, and he offers them several things to eat, and they keep vomiting it up until one of the young fastens on him, sucks his blood, and begins to revive. And then the female creature is utterly inhuman, horrible in form. There's a long moment where it looks at the man. They're in a lonely place, and then very sadly packs up its young and goes back to its spaceship and goes away. And then he adds, "You could not have a more serious theme than that. What is a footling story about some pair of human lovers compared with that?" says Lewis.
Well, true that. It's very nice. Sci-fi brings such feelings as humanity very close to heart. Well, in fantasy, of course, you're gonna have other aspects, like the mystery of the. You can still have the mystery of the unknown, but you can also have like, I don't know if you ever have seen Berserk, because holy shit, that's some great shit.
I have not seen Berserk actually.
The manga is better, but you literally have a horse that murders a child. So, well, a woman. So,
Well,
That's not very chivalrous.
yes, exactly. It's medieval. It's combined medieval time with Horus. It's, whoo, oh boy.
So the Trippish lady says, the real question is, will Elon use his own theses to survive on Mars? And shut up!
Hello, are you still there?
Allô, ils sont savants.
I must say, I'm quite impressed. You are running on out of time. Yes. Sooner or later, we will find you. And we will offer the great and mighty cuckoo quack for only $20.
I wish they were advertising. Well, I don't know. Maybe they are advertising Google Plus. I don't know.
Cuckoo plugs. Cuckoo clocks are great. There's also, I've been watching Pinocchio yesterday. It's great, the old one.
The old one by Disney, not the one from the 90s.
The 90s one, right? Where Pinocchio turns into a donkey.
That's in all of them.
Really?
Yeah, you can't do Pinocchio without donkeys.
Because I found that still scary with the whole amusement park. Damn.
Jeez, Pat, I know I'm annoying sometimes, but there's no need for that. I'm not sure what that is.
I don't know. Yeah, it's probably just a joke about something or other.
It's a joke. You get it? No? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, because they did another Pinocchio in the 90s, but it was...
They also did I believe it's the one with the... I believe it's the 1970. I cannot still believe that was actually that quality of animation. It was very good. Jeez. I noticed which kind of animation style they had and what was animated and what was not. But it was still so good. It was very well done.
What was?
Pinocchio.
From 1970? I thought it was from the 40s.
I have no idea.
There's been a few.
Allow me to double check. Jeez Louise.
I know that. I only know the two. The one from the 40s and from like 1940, and the one from the 1990s. But there could have been others.
I will look for it. Hold up. Yesterday. What kind of horrors did I watch yesterday? I did watch yesterday horrors. So let's see. I did watch some American Dad apparently because that's still funny sometimes. No, I did not do that thing. All right, well, then I will look it up. How do you type it again? Pinocchio, right? Yeah, Pinocchio. Yes, it's the 1940s. That one. That has some good quality. It's the 1940 Pinocchio, which is great.
Pinocchio.
Yeah,
Pinocchio, you're a real boy now. Whoa!
Yeah.
Fascinating. I also like the fucking whale. He was such a chat. Grumpy old man. Just living his life, eating fish. But that
Well,
is.
I think those are a lot of the main stuff about sci-fi.
Yep.
So let's kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about time jumps. So you can do these well. They have not been done well in recent years, though. So
You don't say.
yeah, a major bad one that I can think of is time jumps within the story. So House of the Dragon did it reasonably well, but it was definitely one of the weaker aspects of the show.
Game of Thrones did absolutely horrible.
Well, Game of Thrones didn't do time jumps at all. It just
What was it then? Was it then just skipping from scene to scene?
it didn't have scenes.
well, depends what you call scenes.
It had
I don't know, man.
I would say it had farcical nonsense strapped onto farcical nonsense after farcical nonsense.
They occasionally had scenes.
You had scenes? Oh.
Every now and then they actually had scenes.
1 month later, it really depends. I would say that Endgame is an example where they just have a 5-year gap to separate themselves and do whatever they wanted. Is an example of a bad time jump.
I must say though, with Pirates of the Caribbean, for instance, the one I believe the one with the mermaid, the one with the mermaid actually had a time skip technically, a time jump.
I think that it's fine. It's easier to do time jumps in between installments.
Okay.
But oh yeah, what? Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that stupidity in Wheel of Prime. You're right.
Wheel of Time, that does exist, right? Oh man.
Yeah, we're getting season 2 on September 1st, and that's
Wait, how? How?
Because
Wisp
Amazon
must be very, very happy to hear that you are lovely, wanted to see that again. Oh boy.
Well, it's more just. I would love to get Wisp on for season 2 because she is gonna scream her ass off.
Not only that.
Well, I think she might actually go to Hollywood. She might book a train, go to Hollywood, and castrate Rafe Judkins, his boyfriend, and anybody else involved in the Wheel of Prime.
So, does she live in the U.S.?
No, she lives in Germany. That's why I'm saying that she would probably. That's the reason why I'm saying that she's. That's an indication of how angry she would be that she would actually book a flight to America just to do that.
Well. The main problem is the books are all right. The books are great, but then you have the fucking story that is written by two 12-year-olds on a script. Jeez. Oh boy.
Don't insult 12-year-olds.
Did you say on a scrap with cheese?
Yes, cheese, baby.
At least it tastes good.
Oh, I was
Sure
thinking
does.
used toilet paper, but that works too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in terms of time jumps, House of the Dragon was able to get away with it because it had specific moments in it. Same with Vikings and the Tudors.
I really like the Vikings. Actually, it was a very
Yeah.
good. Series to follow a bit.
Yeah, and
Sorry, go for it.
sorry, I'm just going to say, in House of the Dragon, they would tell you how much time has elapsed. Usually, they would say, well, someone in dialogue would say, well, 6 months ago, blah blah blah. So you wouldn't have to put 6 months later on top of the screen. You'd have a character refer to it in dialogue in a way that was more or less natural. So in that sense, it did cause some difficulties with things that ought to have had consequences and sort of didn't, like, what's his name? Like Kristen
Crystal.
Cole. Oh, he just murdered someone at a wedding. Well, hey, whatever, things happen.
Oh, we have somebody in the back.
Hell yeah, I'm Loki.
Hello, Cheddar.
Greetings.
Nice to cheese you.
Hello, Valerion.
Speaking of cheese,
Cheesy. Lemon squeezy. Don't eat cheese and lemons together. That sounds awful.
no, I think no,
No
probably-
way. Only the mouse don't like it.
The Macy's, the measles.
The mooses.
Sorry, bros, I'm high ski.
I can tell.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Let's
you're
go back
fine.
and be productive. I can
No.
police.
That's all, folks.
Being high might be useful in terms of science fiction and fantasy, or not.
Oh no.
Oh, sorry.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah, time skips are great if you can pull them off correctly. If you don't pull them off correctly, like with I don't know, Star Wars, they suck.
Times.
Wow.
Were you talking about Crispin? You were talking about House of the Dragon. I think
Yeah.
that's what I heard when I came in. They
Yeah.
did. I also thought they did really well with the jump, and I think someone said the Dragon Prince had a really bad one because a major fucking character development happened.
Yes! Yes! Finally, someone!
I literally fucking went back and watched the last episode because I thought I missed something. And no, that's how it is.
Everybody is alive again. Motherfuckers.
Oh, not
mean-
everyone's alive again. Like,
Also, have you heard how wood elves farts taste like jingleberries?
what? I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about how the girl left the group, and when you come in, a fucking main character guy is like all kind of like antsy about it, and you don't know what happened. And I was
that part.
super duper confused about that, and I was like, "What? She left? Why? The last time I saw each other, they just confessed their love to each other."
They left for 1 whole year.
Yeah,
For
that whole
one
thing
whole
was
year,
really
yeah, and it,
Yeah. She was like, I'm not gonna send you flowers or any information like a good fucking assassin would do, or just send regular letters. No. I'm gonna be abandoning you. Goodbye. I'm gonna be hunting this bad guy now. Bye.
Yeah,
It's
she
like
just
what the
leaves.
fuck?
And like as if it wouldn't be really important, and then like she apologizes for it, that she was like, I was selfish at doing da 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 da, and I'm like, wow, that's such a major moment. I wish we fucking saw it. Like I don't know why you just didn't see it. Like if you wanted them to like break up for the dramatic tension,
Yes.
why did you break them up off screen? Break them up at the start of the season. and
They
get them
they
together.
should have done it.
I love that melodrama shit. That would have been great. So like, I literally went back and I was like, huh? And what the fuck is going on? Because the end of the last season, it ended with the dad character waking up or getting resurrected again.
Yes.
Perion.
And so that's not really a criticism of the gap, but like, and I thought it was fine.
And then you realize that the girl, the daughter of his has now a boyfriend that Lily makes fart jokes all the
that.
time.
Oh yeah, I love that. He's just a friendly little Kiwi, and then they make him kill someone.
Yeah, but the fart jokes went a little bit too far. It was a little bit too low. I was like, oh my god, I have so much sympathy for this father figure. Jeez.
What you didn't like the Kiwi? You were agreeing with the Kiwi that he was like, what the fuck? I mean, they're being cutesy and gross for each other the way teenagers
Yeah, but
are.
I have so much mercy for his for the father figure being like, oh my god, they're making fart jokes. Yeah.
I think he's just. I definitely empathize with the dad being like, killed now. These people are
Like, kill me now.
insufferable.
To be fair, listening to that shit from anyone except inside the relationship is like, kill me now.
Yes, but I do like the character development in those two, but the fucking off-screen relation breakup, they should not have done that. They should have showed it.
Exactly.
First things first, it would have made so much more better of a season, because then you have like a build-up towards all the fucking escalation that comes afterwards.
Yeah, and like, way to go for about like mending ties, because that was like the theme of the season. But
Yes,
and it was out of character to leave in the first place. Like, the last time we talked to her, she wasn't filled with want for revenge. That came out of nowhere. That you literally made that up in this season. What?
Also, the whole escalation of the camp, of the elven camp with the humans in it, that would have been so much cooler to see, like, her leading and then making the mistakes that would come towards the escalation of it. And then,
I only watched like half the season. I don't know if.
Oh, you didn't
first
watch
half.
the whole You didn't binge watch it all on one babysitting. I see.
I watched it by myself until I was like, this one isn't really doing it for me. This is kind of a weak season.
Oh yeah. It's the spark is very bad. The main problem is I always binge watch most Netflix series because I do not have a Netflix account, and when I have babysitting, I have the Netflix account, so I can watch things like what is it called? She-Ra, Princess of Power. I have watched that whole show. That whole shit show.
All right, 1 second. We have a guest.
What? What was that? What was that? What was that?
It was Ninja.
That is the Witch King from the atrociously bad animated Return of the King movie.
Oh, hello there. Sorry, I heard this. I was aware I heard this bizarre noise. Like, oh, what just happened?
I do have a question. Are you hearing any reverb?
No.
No, you sound a little far away, but.
I do want to. May I just cover this really quick? While I had my loins girded big time for season 1, and have hopeful for season 2, but for real, I don't know how many big changes I can shrug off. That's fair. There will be many more changes, as is the nature of adaptation. False. Season 2 is a true melding of two books with the other bits from still others. Stories transplanted, characters combined. But if you love the story mains and can tell, of the story mains tell, that was weird sentence, and can get behind this new turning of the wheel, who knows, you might enjoy the new experience. But then again, you only know how far you can disconnect from your book fan self watching the show. I know it's hard to separate the two.
Wheel of Time, is that what it's talking about?
Yeah, basically it's saying, there's going to be differences. There's going to be a lot of changes made, and you can disconnect from your book. You don't know how much you can transplant from your show fan to your book fan. First off, never a show fan. Hate it from the beginning. So, and it's not a matter of its difference, a matter of its crap.
Fuck you, 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 fuck you.
You are a pathetic junkie. Too stupid to understand and follow simple rudimentary instruction.
Codex is saying hello to Cedar, by the way.
Hello, Codex. Nice to meet you.
Oh, was that? Oh, it was Codex. Yes, hello.
So there you are, telling us it will not follow the books at all. Well, yeah. I never actually read the books anyway.
So Wisp will be even more mad. I see. The shotgun will definitely be loaded.
I don't even know if she's probably just not gonna watch it.
Well, yeah. Well,
Unless, of course, you're telling the good news, and then you try to persuade her.
I don't know if I'll watch it or not.
It's gonna be a
depends.
critical 20 though, so don't worry about it.
Go for it, Valerian.
I don't know if I'll watch it or not. Depends on what mood I'm in. Depends on what else is going on at the time too. I guess I might end up just watching it because of not having a life or something, but who knows?
I did it with She-Ra, Princess of Power, so don't worry about it.
you did it with She-Ra? Damn, how was it?
Okay. The first, I'll tell you this. All right, it went from to
Oh,
to
sorry. I was making a sex joke.
oh.
Since she's a teenager.
I don't get those things so
That's
fast.
okay.
So I'm just saying that the middle section is actually quite good because they finally have some character development after she breaks the sword.
Oh, that's good.
And then afterwards, it's about religious fucking Christians taking over the world that have beehive mentality. So
Man,
and
that is,
then everything went to shit again. So
Sounds like I should watch She-Ra.
Oh, good. A bashing Christianity story. That's totally original, and that's
Yeah.
well,
that
it's a
hasn't been
beehive
around
community,
since
by the way.
Philip Pullman, and even then since Thomas Paine.
I really like the bad guy, all right? I really like the bad guy, and then they turned him into a fucking paper plant that was like, Jemma,
Yeah.
Jemma will make
So-
you die, Jemma. Yes,
So-
Jemma.
So,
Timmy fell in the
well, since you're here, Ninja, we can talk about kind of adapting other other cultures into sci-fi and fantasy.
Oh, okay. So, one of my favorites in terms of adaptations, it's actually one of my personal favorite games of all time. It's a game called. Let me just pull up the Steam link itself. It was made by a South African developer, if I got it right.
cool.
And it's called Orion Legacy of the Kori Odon. It's a 2D Tales of RPG game.
Cool.
Inspired by the Tales of series, but it's a full-on African fantasy, and there's only one white dude, and he's the rival character.
Nice.
Well, that's the
developers
thing.
are
It's
South
like
African?
everything is African, and then you have this white dude with no explanation. They don't explain it, but I don't care.
That's
Everything
fucking funny.
And also another fun fact: it's about a couple,
That's illegal.
an actual married couple. In fact, the game
That's
starts
even
on their
more
wedding.
illegal.
You can really call the adventure of one of the worst honeymoons ever, because what happens, the story begins, you got a king and queen on their wedding day, everything's hunky-dory, and then the brother-in-law shows up and kicks them out of the kingdom. And it's all about their journey just to get their kingdom back, and then learning about the truth of their kingdom, why it exists, and all that stuff. And it's also one of the only occasion where you don't fight who is technically the main bad guy. You only see the final fight with her big moment in a cutscene, and it was still glorious. I did not care.
Oh my gosh, yeah. What is it called? Where can you find it? Is it on Steam?
Yeah, it was a game on Steam. So it was like during 2016, I was like trying to look for something new, something interesting on Steam. Like I was looking into indie games, and this game popped out.
Oh my god, so it's not even like recent. It's actually kind of old. That's wild.
It's old school, baby.
Yeah, it is. And there are some problems with it. Like I remember when I was playing it, there are some problems in terms of gameplay where the visuals are beautiful and stuff, but in terms of practical gameplay, sometimes the platforming wasn't as good or on that. And plus, if I look over in the story again, I could probably poke holes at it, but I can't. It being one of the only, I would say it's like the only African fantasy out of the Black Panther. I put Black Panther under superheroes So
And
this
it's
is
crap.
Yeah, superheroes, I guess, are closer to science fiction, although it's so
superheroes is science fantasy.
Why are you putting all these images up, Done?
Oh my god, I see a Dutch person.
Multicultural is-
Oh,
yeah,
these
I mean,
silly
there are
pictures.
things that you could call fantasy with superheroes, like Captain Marvel gets his the original Captain Marvel, not the one you know, gets his power from magic, but still the basic atmosphere is not like what you think of as fantasy.
Yeah, but so like that's my idea of like a game or like something that is like other cultures that I is like I really want to have that experience again with other cultures that has not been talked about. Like there's a new game that was announced, like an indie game where you're playing. It's not what exactly one where you play an Aztec warrior apparently during the Spanish conquest, which is something I'm not 100% what I want. I like if I want to play an Aztec game, I want to play full-on Aztec game, not so much connected to the Spanish conquest.
I actually think I have a suggestion for you, Ninja, if you like that. And it's a deeply Russian game, the themes of it. It's called Pathologic 2.
Oh yeah, I heard of that game.
Yeah.
I heard about the depressed Russian game.
The depressed Russian game. Well, they updated it so it's not a pain game anymore. Like there is.
Well, it's still depressing.
It is depressing. It's a Russian game. It's Russian.
It's a Russian game. It's depressing.
So do you win up by getting yourself blind drunk on vodka? Is that how you win?
Yeah, basically, it goes into it has a lot of fantasy and mysticism that I really like. That's kind of dug into. It sort of touches on the indigenous side of Russia versus the more idealists from the city as a theme. I mean, they're all white, but they have like a cool culture that they worship bulls and the earth, and I'm pretty sure it's made up.
Actually, kind of sounds like Cretan culture.
It could be.
It's Slavic.
I mean, Russia's a
it's
really
like general.
big...
It's as far as I know, it's like General Slavic.
Yeah, General Slavic and the different types of Slavic. So kind of like the people out in the country, the people that are farther east versus the people from the west that come in.
If you want to have a whole African-themed MMORPG, by the way, try to play Nightfall from Guild Wars 1. It's fully goddamn African-themed. It's so cool.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
like so for me, I would like or like stuff like that. Like I am sick and tired of like, okay, here's your Western fantasy, but then we have like a special section, like either Western fantasy or like Western China or Japanese fantasy, but then we have a special area dedicated to like another culture, but it's like the generic culture.
They don't put the amount of depth. That's kind of only the surface level. They don't give it the same respect.
Well, the main thing about Guild Wars 1 was that it had so much diversity in it. It had the Japanese Chinese faction. That was one whole fucking expansion. East Asian expansion. The Eye of the North, which is Nordic, though. Mm-hmm. Then you have the European one. So not the Nordic one, but the European one, which had like a little bit more of a steampunk feeling towards it, like the early games of development of guns.
Oh yeah.
Fun fact: my world building, a lot of it has inspirations that are kind of non-Western, in a kind of a loose kind of way, because a lot of them go back to when I was a kid, and for some reason I thought Islam was interesting, so I invented these languages that sounded a little bit like Arabic, and then they started sounding a little bit like Sanskrit, because that was also kind of exotic. I mean, I was only a kid, so what did I know? So, and some of it's modeled on popular Buddhism time now. That's being refined a bit now. It's a little bit less like that, but there's still, and I even have a language that's kind of model on Swahili. So I have these. That on the other hand, people do complain about the names of my novels. So some of the ones they complain about are the ones with Swahili Hawaiian sounds about them. So.
Yeah.
Allow me to by the way put a picture in private chat so that you can see it. Nope, that doesn't work. All right, URL time, baby.
Oh, I wanted to say for Blarian with your names, always when you're making names like that, make sure you check that they're not like words that actually mean something, and you don't accidentally name your character asshole.
Asshole.
Or like pig. Like,
well,
like,
Apple wouldn't be
sounds
so
like
bad,
this.
but if I named them something, and like, if I named them something, and like a Swahili reader reads them, and it's like, he used that cuss word. How could he use that word? Well, that filthy scum.
That's probably not what they think. They probably think you're stupid that you didn't realize it was a cuss word, unless you meant to use a cuss word.
If I'm really lucky, they'll think I'm appropriating it or something.
Yeah.
You
kind
could
of bringing.
why don't you go ask some Swahili people about some names?
Well, they're just very loosely based on it in terms of the aesthetic. They're not directly based on the names. They're like aesthetically.
That's true. I wouldn't do that. Who would answer? What kind of suggestion is that?
Yeah, they have names like they have names like Mbawa, and Barama, and the Turanian. Sometimes it's very, very loosely based on like Arabic or Swahili or Sanskrit in the sense that it's got lots of A's in it and lots of J's and things like that.
Ayo,
Lots of sounds in it. Lots of Paran, Nyaja, Istaka, Angara.
Moshi.
That actually vaguely sounds a heck of a lot like the gibberish that Count Olaf was spouting in the Series of Unfortunate Events movie.
Well, in that case, Count Olaf can't be all that bad.
Well,
yeah.
Anyway, I put the image for people to see. If
I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's not exactly what I'm looking for, but it looks cool.
Yeah, but the whole point is that it is a whole. It's a multiple expansions into one, and once you buy it once, you don't have to buy it twice because there is no season pass of whatsoever. Because it's an old fucking game that runs like an old game, but it's a good game. It's nice. It's a little bit more strategy-like than RPG-like, but you can fully customize your build. You want to build a necromancer that can raise your animals from the grave? Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Or be a paladin that uses poison.
Yeah, so like... Oh, we lost Cedar. Oh no.
No!
She'll be back. I hope.
She would be back.
Yeah.
Hey, I closed the tab.
Welcome back.
You did it, Potter.
but this is what I'm talking about.
No.
Oh! Menge ginge. Minikiki. Akana hi. Hanaka hatana ne watakana.
Oh.
It's time, you children. A little respect.
No way. My language is way better than that.
Yeah. So like the reason I was like talking about like, true diversity, it's like we get the pseudo diversity now, like
You mean
for a
forceful?
while. It's
Often
like
doesn't make sense.
What's pseudo diversity?
Pseudo is like, oh yeah, we're gonna have like a diverse character, but it's not gonna be, or like you have like diverse elements in our story, but it's not really. It still draws from the same wells.
Oh, the same kind of tired old wells.
Yeah,
So
it's
still
like,
using Western sources and stuff. It's just adding characters of color.
You mean it doesn't have personality? Yes, no
Well,
soul.
it's not even that. It's more of like they can, some creators are good enough to twist it into their own thing. It's just like, all right, we're gonna have African characters, but they're in like leadership in the positions. It's like, okay, it's fine, but it's kind of sad. Or here's African tribe, and it's the stereotypical African tribe in the jungle.
Or you're gonna do it like they do it with Magic the Gathering, where you have now Aragon is being black.
I don't care.
Is Aragon black in that?
Well,
That sounds cool.
Yes.
I just think
I don't care.
Why not?
I don't care either. I'm just like,
I found it funny.
I've seen a lot of black Lord of the Rings fans, and I was like, oh, it kind of made me understand like not a lot of people wear it. They don't.
Now you know my pain.
Now I know my pain. Myself.
I have seen too many series go to ruins, and now this. Nah.
It's going to ruins because Aragon's black.
Not only that, but it's Tolkien people don't like it when you have literally everything descripted by Tolkien, and then you don't do the thing that Tolkien descripted.
We could play text lawyers all day about Tolkien's work, but that's not part of this top.
Well, I know. I just think that the Tolkien fans are going to be assholes no matter what happens.
Oh yeah, definitely. To Amazon and Wizards of the Coast. Oh, definitely.
Well,
and like for no fucking reason, because they already did. They made it the most amazing adaptation you could make, besides doing it word for word when they did it the first time. So why not change some things? Why would you want to just remake something that was already a masterpiece?
Exactly.
Without changing something and including more people.
And now it's even having even a second season where everything is gonna be better, more amazing, and somehow a horse died on scene.
Oh, you're talking about Rings of Power?
Well, I thought you were talking about that.
Oh, I thought.
No,
okay, sorry.
It's gonna be fun. Honestly, I think there's a possibility that Rings of Power season 2 is gonna be better than season 1 because the writers are on strike.
Oh yeah, they were on strike. They kind of forgot about the whole damn thing where the script is cool.
Oh yeah. Well,
we're basically going to have a bunch of unpaid interns writing this. And it's going to be
is Jiminy. He's
they...
only 2 years old. He's a child.
You know why they're striking? It's because of AI. They're gonna have AI write Rings of Power too.
But that makes it even better because AI actually does the work properly.
They also are probably going to do really base things like just talk about red pill stuff.
They really got to shackle. Well, not shackle. They have a lot of they programmed actual values into some of these AI, so they wouldn't turn Nazi so fucking fast.
Oh, I would love to see if we can have the whole script of Rings of Power and then run it by an AI detector and see how much is made from AI.
That's not possible, and it wasn't.
It is possible. To detect AI.
We're getting a little bit sidetracked here. Let's
So back on top of there's so many cool cultures that it's like not only like you got continents, what all kind of.
You broke out.
Whoops. You're in the middle of saying something. Well, until he comes back, I can tell you something horribly woke.
Sure.
Which is that there are no white characters in my novel.
Cool.
Because it's nowhere near Europe, and it's in the Middle Ages when the Europeans wouldn't have reached it yet.
That sounds like a cool book. I always kind of wanted to read a book like that.
I mean, I don't go into the race at all, but
So everybody is non-white because the sun was too hot.
Well, I mean, the American Indians were non-white in North America too. So
yeah, true that.
Yeah,
but
I just
that's a good question. Why? How?
like, so part of me is just like in this topic, when I think of this topic, it's like, oh, there's complaining about, oh, there's so many cultures like in both history and nowadays that you can make whole movies on. Like, that's one of the reasons why Moana got popular, was because I'm pretty sure it's because, oh, it's a Disney princess movie about a culture that rarely gets highlighted.
Like Hawaiian, like Lilo and Stitch.
And they
Yeah,
they
and
made a
that's
big
the only
hoopla.
time.
But it's a good movie. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong.
It is a great movie. I
Lilo
love
and
It has-
Stitch. Yeah,
And Moana is pretty good as well.
And actually,
Yeah,
Lilo
mine
and
is
Stitch
too.
is a lot more. It is quite funny. It was really woke. They had to cut out a scene.
Oh yeah, the
that
airplane
shows,
scene. They
the
changed it.
tourists being kind of racist towards Lilo, and then Lilo gets back at them by telling them a drill is a real tsunami warning.
Or the part where they because of the twin towers they actually removed the airplane into
Oh
the
yeah, I remember that. I'm sorry, I'm Pavlov.
Well, a lot of movies had to do that.
Yeah,
that
Spider-Man
time.
had to do that. As
But the two cigars were such an iconic idea. Why just keep it?
At this point,
Because
I have,
because it was linked to a tragedy that just happened that exact same year.
I was eating
yeah.
popcorn while that was happening.
Damn.
you were eating popcorn. That must have been a riot.
Yeah, it was. It was the most interesting thing that day happened.
How old are you?
Let's see, 30 now.
30.
oh, you're 2 years older than me?
Yes, apparently.
Yeah,
Because I remember when it happened, and I thought it was a movie, and my little brother thought it was like Independence Day. But it was real.
Well.
And you weren't there when they kept replaying the footage of people jumping out. Sorry, no, wait, no, we're getting off.
but
I don't know what I'm
so
going down. I'm just high.
so another idea is like, oh, what cultures has not been explored that I would personally want to explore? Like for me, some Indian cultures, but India does a pretty good job of themselves.
Yep.
Bollywood.
Yeah, India.
Party.
is-
Oh my god.
Oh, we
It's
should
like a Bollywood movie.
we should really watch Mangal Pandey. It's such a good movie.
I still
I-
need to watch part 2 of RRR. No, it's Bahubali, not RRR.
I need to watch those. Is that the series with the human catapults?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I need to watch both of them just because I want to see the human catapults. But so like culture I really want. I would really love to explore. Is
have one to
Incan culture,
Incan?
not Aztec, Incan.
Ooh, yeah.
I love ever since the kid the Incas were always fascinating to me. You know, the closest thing we have to an Incan culture movie. You know what film?
Is
Yeah.
it Emperor's New Groove? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, it was a Paloma film. It's a fun film.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
awesome, but it's kind of sad. It's like, oh, one movie and it's a comedy, family
I
comedy.
know. Well, they had something really serious. They had something like Mulan level, but the studio came to them and were like, "You can't do this again. They're getting tired of the formula." And like they literally were like, "Shit, well we're scrap everything," and they fucking just made a movie. And
That also
before they
had it was in development hell. So,
yeah, it was in development hell. But
Yeah.
what's really cool is that my friend who's Mexican, a lot of her very intricate artwork is related around Incan designs, and so one of her
Nice.
projects was that she glued down like tobacco and kind of the smells of her abuela in very intricate Incan patterns with her face painted in the middle of it. So like, I don't know, it just made me think of that.
I
Cool.
just for one of the drawings, I actually used the Incan calendar for as a reference, and then I made my own Incan calendar by
have a-
using the Keith Haring style.
I have a culture that was very, very loosely based on Inca with mixtures of Aztec and Maya, but very, very loosely, just in the sense that the languages were similar, and I think some of the myths may have been a little bit inspired by them, but very loosely.
I also would like a bit more South Korea. Oh, just Korea in general.
Oh,
Korea,
Korea?
like, yeah, well, Korea.
yeah.
You know, you could pull from Korean history in general. That's just a fascinating because of how influential and like unknown Korea is in our Western viewpoint, even though it has like a lot of influences of both China and Japan.
It hasn't quite broken through the same ways like it's been pushed through anime, but with after Squid Games and the rising popularity of like K-pop stars and whatnot, I think South Korea is starting to really kind of come over to America.
Yeah, but
Yes.
it's more of like the modern South Korea, not so much about the
Oh, not about
historical
the ancient-
Korea. Like
Oh, yeah,
before
not-
Japan, before Japan showed up.
Yeah.
Before Japan showed up.
Japan.
Yeah, I mean,
Before
where do you
Japan.
think Japan got its Chinese?
We had
Pardon me,
such a
pardon
we
me.
had
Like,
Pardon me.
Valerian first, then you,
All right.
Johan.
Pardon me. Thank you. I was just saying that where do you think Japan got its Chinese culture from?
back in the day, man. I'm so sorry about Japan showing up. We had such a nice empire, and then suddenly Japan was showing up at our borders. We were like, no, and then we were screwed.
Nice
Yeah.
empire.
Yeah, Vietnam is another Chinese influenced culture that has not got much attention. Vietnam and Korea both.
Neither does Indonesia.
I haven't heard of a Vietnamese story. I'm trying to think. I don't really know any like Korean animation. I saw. No, that's not fan. That's more modern. Gosh.
Meanwhile, some
Go dig, 'cause there's
chap
not
is
a lot of
saying
local-
stuff in the some chap is saying things in the chat, by the way,
Oh,
but it's kind of not related to what we're talking about now, which is why we're kind of ignoring him. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
I don't know anything about Harlan Ellison's.
but Spaceball was not that bad compared to Disaster Movie.
Yeah, disaster movie is way worse.
I only seen Epic Movie and I cringed.
Oh my god, you have seen Epic Movie? Amazing.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
is this
Epic
the one
Movie
with
is-
the what was it? Cannibal?
That was-
Some weird cannibal animal of some kind.
Just unless I talk about, I don't want to talk about it. I want
Oh,
to talk
it's
about some
Chipmunk.
other like another. So I would really like more exploration of ancient Mesopotamia.
The
Yeah,
what?
like the Epic of
Ooh,
the Epic
yeah.
of Gilgamesh, for example.
Yeah, Bronze Age. Like anything Bronze Age in that area, you got ancient. Well, other than ancient Egypt, everyone does that. But like, you got the ancient Hittite Empire. You got all the various city-states.
Where's our Gilgamesh movie, man? I want to
What-
see the best
Oh yeah,
romance in
Gilgamesh. That would be
history.
so cool, especially when they have like that new tablet they discovered recently.
Oh, I
And
really
be
just don't-
and
I'm just thinking
Guys?
of the biggest brofist, which is Gilgamesh and Enkidu, where it's. I think it's just the meme.
I'm so sad that people are not still remembering the great slaughtering in the German woods.
So has Gilgamesh been made a film? I should think it has to be made at least one film.
Ferris.
Nope.
I feel like
not
there
even
should
one.
be like
Not
Yeah,
even one.
they just Gilgamesh and Enkidu. Like Gilgamesh is just a character they just like pick out and just throw into other stuff. And sometimes they even just change the identity, just name a character Gilgamesh as the reference.
Oh yeah, it's
Hello,
referenced
Japan.
rather than just.
So
Wait,
Well-
Japan has some anime where the guy's name's Gilgamesh, or is it?
Fate.
Gilgamesh?
Let's see. Final Fantasy. He's a
Oh.
recurring character who uses a whole bunch of weapons. I'm pretty sure there's a Fates character who's probably
Yes,
the gender
Fate.
bent version of Gilgamesh
So-
that ticks me off.
There's a
Oh
couple
yeah.
of-
Really?
I
There was a
get-
gentleman
that's one of
version
those
of it?
things where it was
There's a-
like full English. Bleh.
So
Why is he
apparently,
looking like that? I did. It's
apparently we were wrong.
bad
Is
vibes.
it short?
There
Oh,
is
it's
a
a short.
Gilgamesh movie.
He
No.
looks so
Finally.
angry though.
Oh, wait, no, wait.
It's a short.
It's Fortnite, baby.
Feature? No, it's a feature length. There's apparently a feature length animated Gilgamesh movie that's being made by the Fortnite developers.
Oh, it's
God.
not. It's being made. It's not finished then.
Do you know how fast I would download Fortnite if they made Gilgamesh a skinned?
I would still love to have a movie about Varys and the Generic tribes beating up the fucking Romans in the woods. Oh,
Let me see. There were a
Varys
couple
is such
of,
a cool guy.
there were a couple of TNG
Such a cool guy.
episodes. There were a couple of TNG episodes that sort of referred to Mesopotamian stuff. There's one where Picard meets this alien. This alien is trying to immerse him into his mythology, and then Picard they like communicate, so they can communicate. And eventually Picard tells him his own mythos about, well, not his, but the one about Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
And there's that. It's actually a pretty good episode. One of the better ones. And there's one where what's his name? Data gets possessed by an ancient archive of an ancient mythology, which is sort of vaguely not quite Mesopotamian. I'm not sure what it was. So
Like, there is some really cool stuff with ancient, not only just mythology, just like the way like if you read the Bible, like in Genesis and stuff, you get a hint about how the politics worked at that time in terms of warfare before like the Assyrians or the Egyptians, where you have like these city-states that were ruled by kings, but they had to end up, when they go to war, they have to end up in joining many alliances to go defeat him, and they don't necessarily kill the king and takes his territory. They just like grab people as slaves.
Oh dear, yeah. Honestly, that would be a sick ass setting for like a Game of Thrones style, because it would have so many more players in it too, because the city states. I'd watch it.
City states.
sure, you could do something with Nebuchadnezzar and the Persian conquest.
Ooh, yeah.
Or if you want to be another Pacific African tribe that is sort of well known in the West, but is rarely that is underutilized, Zulus.
Zulus, the
Whoa,
mass murderer guys? No thanks.
No, they're the guys that painted. Wait, no, it was another tribe. I
They
think I'm
were
thinking of the
scary.
tribe that painted Zulu or some superhero character on their shields, because they met like someone in World War II that had comic books. And
That's Black Panther.
The Zulus were in South Africa.
Yes.
They were scary.
oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Zulu Empire. The Zulu Empire. Yeah, Ethiopia.
Ethiopia is one of the best.
Ethiopia had castles.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, didn't they?
They were annoying to siege down.
There was actually a native African Christian culture in southern Sudan for about 1,000 years.
Yeah, Coptic religion, baby.
Well, they're based on Coptic, but it was one of the southern Sudanese tribes. They were influenced by the Coptic, but they spoke a different language.
Interesting.
Understandable.
And then, of course, you got your Mongolian settings. You could do like anything in the central.
So you fucking said it. That was my hyperfixation in high school, and I still have it. Where I made a fantasy race based off of Mongolians, and I did a fuck ton of research.
And not the Timurids?
And I made my own like fake script for Mongolian or whatever it was, and
Cool.
yeah,
I'm more of a fan of the Scythians.
I don't know what
Scythians.
are.
The crazy people who used people's skinned hands as golf club covers for their arrows, and
No,
they're scalped.
well, maybe. They're also the people who
Brutal.
defeated enemies. They used their tops of their skulls as drinking bowls, and also who
Oh,
skipped
yeah.
against Queen killed Cyrus the Great when Cyrus did trickery to kill one of your sons, and because Cyrus the Great went too far, and he then, after killing him in battle, the queen brings up his dead body's corpse and a whole bag full of blood and dunks his head in, made a poetic here, drink on the blood of your ambition.
Yeah.
But like loads of people have used skulls as cups.
Yes, or as necklaces for the horses. Casual.
Everyone does that.
Metal. At least not whatnot,
The Celts used to have a whole collect. Every time they defeated warriors, they just put them on the shelf, put their heads on the shelf. It's like, yeah, I did that.
The Germanic tribes actually, nailed the heads of their enemies on the walls of their wooden shacks for good luck.
At least they were dead when they took those parts, and they didn't slowly torture them first.
Well,
Well, yeah, I was saying that.
There was a tribe in.
Tribes were brutal, man.
There was a
Tribes are
tribe in
brutal.
southern. There was a tribe in southern China in the 20th century was still using decapitated hand heads. They would chop off a Han Chinese head and they would sacrifice it and use it to get to fertilize the fields or something.
Oh, how lovely! And I still need to eat
awesome.
tonight.
I'm eating right now.
Well, I think that also the Scythians scalped their enemies and used their hair as dish towels and guest towels.
Brutal. Damn.
Damn, son.
Yeah, they're not nice. They're not nice. So were the Mongols, especially under Genghis Khan.
Oh no, they were not nice.
So were the Timurids.
Yeah, Genghis Khan, did a lot of mass genocides.
He's the king of genocide.
He's also the king of fucking just about every woman in his path along Eurasia.
He's the king of graping and genocide.
Yes.
You people are so mean. Genghis was just a cute, innocent little teddy bear and wanted some fun.
Genghis didn't do anything wrong.
Oh yeah, and what are you gonna say? That Hitler didn't do anything wrong?
No. The Austrian painter was just merely dismissed from school. That's all.
Oh yes. But Genghis Khan is the worst of them all. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he made the Ice Age happen again. How dare he?
People are so mean.
Yes, he did create one of the most stable empires and made the Silk Road
stable.
The longest running. It was at least safe to a certain extent for travelers to go along the Silk Road.
Once he conquered them,
it was not stable.
Really stable. It was
I'm aware of the political strife.
It did split up. It did split up apart pretty quick after his death, I think.
Oh, it did like boom that quick.
Oh, so he's like Caesar from New Vegas.
Basically, as soon as his grandson died, I think son or grandson died, the empire stopped expanding and then just quickly fell apart.
He did, yeah.
You could also technically also make a whole damn fucking series about the fucking Ottoman Empire if you want to, because that is also very cool. The diplomatic pressure and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Did you know that there was a queen of Egypt during the Crusades that she did a weekend of birdies with her late husband to save the kingdom?
Oh my god.
She did what?
Yeah,
she did what?
Shit right there.
A weekend of birdies. Her husband died, and
she had to sadly puppet his corpse around to get anything fucking done.
No, he didn't
Just
even
listen to her on
puppet
the
the
face
corpse.
of
She
it.
just put him on an island and just said "Oh, he's totally not dead."
He's totally not dead, guys. So anyway, this is what he said. Yeah, totally.
Oh, okay.
See, girl, that's what we call a girl boss move.
Hello there, my fellow kings. How you doing?
Hey, I mean, she was killing it. So she was ruling Egypt. So apparently, it sounds like she got shit done. So.
Fair enough.
Yeah, there is so many badass women in history that that people don't know about. That is so cool.
Yeah, like Boudica, for example. And
Well, I like her, but she was a failure. But she was cool.
She was she's a cool failure. Fun fact: her name means victory,
which is ironic
because she
failed.
Ironic. Irony.
The better version is actually the better version of Boudica actually happened in Vietnam. Actually, there's like the Trunin sisters. Like there were a pair of sisters that rebelled against China. Oh yeah, they're called the Trun sisters. They rebelled against China, and they succeeded in having their kingdom independent for 2 years, and then the actual Han army showed up.
Dang.
Baldur.
But hey, 2 years, 2 whole years, as opposed to Boudica's weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess if you did
Nicholas, this is how you do diversity. Here's some awesome ideas.
Yeah,
But instead, I was just going to say, but instead, it basically everything looks like a California airport.
You could also technically go for I don't know how you. I don't know how you. I don't know how you can say it, but Boudica. I believe that's the word. Right?
Boudica.
Yeah, Boudica. She was a mad lad.
Yeah.
She was a mad lad.
What?
No, she lost the war, but she was a mad lad.
Though technically, I don't think we know of her fate.
She died. The last time we checked, she died of
the big gay.
She died of either poison or
right. They execute. That's the only thing that was written by the Romans who defeated her, and dying by poison is very common among their enemies who got defeated by the Romans.
It is very common to die by poison.
You know, we should have more games where we get to fuck up the Romans.
What? They were such nice guys.
If you want a game about screwing over the Romans, Volverd Blade.
Or just
Volverd Blade, which is a beat 'em up where you play as Celts beating up Romans.
Hell yeah!
Or you just play Rome to the Wall 1, the original one. I love playing playing the Celtics and then make the enemies just rout by Celtic shouting.
I'm looking up another queen, another Celtic queen. Let's see if I can remember anything about her. Her name was
cool culture.
Cartamangua. Let's see. What does she actually do? She's mentioned in Capua. She ruled over a tribe called the Brigantes. She may be one of the 11 quote kings end quote who Claudius's triumphal arc says surrendered without a fight. No, that doesn't sound very heroic. She probably inherited her power. Blah, blah. What else? I'm trying to see if there's anything interesting. Oh, in 1951, the British resistance leader Karataka sought sanctuary with her, but then she hands him over to the Romans and betrays him. I think she doesn't work very well as a heroine. Well, she could work as a Game of Thrones kind of anti-heroine. She sees the brother. Sorry?
I was thinking about one person I was thinking about was Maria Theresa, the lady who took out Frederick the Great of Prussia.
Nice.
Yeah. She's
another diverse story you could do, which is very cool. The Pirate Queen of China.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Madame Gao, I think. Was it Madame Gao? I think is her name.
I keep forgetting her name. It's very annoying. Hold on.
Was Madame Gao just
it's Zen Yi Zhao.
Oh, I was thinking there was a
Zen Yi Zhao. Who? Zen Yi.
Yeah, I heard about that there was this Chinese pirate captain who was blind as a bat, but she was so rich that the Chinese government had to. She was able to buy a privateering thing from the.
Yeah, that's her. She may have her name changed because she was married twice.
Right. Yeah.
And there's some weirdness.
Oh,
I don't want to go into it. There is some weirdness about her personal life.
Talking
Well,
about
gay?
diversity
Also, hey, go ahead.
What
and
were
all
you-
that, has anything been done based on Anansius, the spider?
I can't think of one off the top of my head, actually. Let me look that up. That is, I don't believe so, honestly.
Yeah, because those were used to be some of my favorite, like, African myths when I was younger. Legends, whatever. Myths, legends, stories, folk tales.
No. The earliest one that there's only one that exists. It's from 1969. It's an animated short. There's apparently a movie called Arachnid that came out in 2021 that was made in Ghana, but no.
Spiders.
He's actually used in a movie in the TV show Gargoyles, but mostly he doesn't really show up in a lot of things.
Yeah, like 80% of mythology that is not Greece and Japanese and maybe Chinese are just used for reference material rather than
or
actually
Norse.
telling the stories.
Yeah, or Norse.
But by the way, okay.
See ya, see you there.
Have a fun riot. But
Is she leaving, or did she just
Yeah.
go out again?
I'm a little high, so I'm dipping. See ya.
Okay, I see now in the private. Okay,
She
no.
went brownies.
Yeah, she found the brownies. But one more thing about diversity. Have you ever heard about a senator appointing his best man as his second hand? All right?
Are you talking about
Guess who was the
Caligula?
best man?
Caligula?
No, a horse.
Yeah, that's Caligula.
Okay. That guy is great. That was a fun story to read. A fucking horse. Yeah, I'm this guy, man. This guy, he knows exactly what I want.
Well,
Yeah,
the horse of Poli made a better ruler than Caligula did.
Yeah, Caligula is nuts. Funnily
that-
enough, Caligula does have a movie adaptation of his life.
Really?
I think
Yep.
I may have. Yeah. I think I may have heard of it.
Jeez. Okay. I didn't expect that.
Basically,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, please, Hollywood. Please. I like samurai. I like the Middle Ages. I like Norse stuff.
Just
And
don't
I like
fuck it up.
Rome and Greece and all that stuff. But please, for the love of Pete, please be more
Branch-
creative.
Branch out a bit.
They don't like creative things. They don't want to go for Varys and his legion, that he literally set up and then get murdered in the fucking woods. Or, the problems within Rome itself and all that
Well, it's
shenanigans.
not just Hollywood; it's game developers and even fans, just people who consume. It's everyone. It's basically everyone.
What was it again? The main problem is, like, if you go for Assassin's Creed, for instance, it's like, we're gonna do Egypt now, and it's nothing that looks like Egypt. Like, it doesn't feel like Egypt in most cases.
Well, it does feel like the Egypt of that time.
Yeah, true that, but not like the politics and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, because it's Cleopatra, Egypt. It's Cleopatra, which is not in Egypt is like thousands of years. Cleopatra lives closer to the age of the smartphone than the beginning of Egypt as a kingdom.
They should have gone with Moses or something like that. That stupid movie with Moses and that animated movie. Like, yeah, that is a good movie about Moses trying to warn the prince, like, don't do this, man. Don't do this, or there will be plagues. And it's like, bitch, I am the king here, and there are plagues. It's like, motherfucker.
Yeah, Cleopatra was actually one of the very few members of our dynasty who even knew the Egyptian language. So,
Oh well, there is a tablet that explains everything from Greek to Egyptian.
yes, the Rosetta Stone.
Yes, one of the most important parts in fucking history found.
Yes.
If it was not for that stone, we won't be able to, translate.
We probably would, but it would take a lot longer.
Oh yeah, especially with all the symbols. Jeez.
Yeah, but anyway, there's a whole globe of history before Cleopatra.
True that. With let's see, 1 civil war, 2 civil wars, 3 civil wars, 4 civil wars.
Probably more than that. They probably had a fair number of civil wars.
Any dynastic change is a civil war.
Yep. But it was very cool. They built big giant towers of fame. So at least they are still standing, like the Tower of Pizza.
And then there was a culture that was influenced by Egypt in the Sudan.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Aztecs who built the same fucking structures, which is quite strange.
Yeah, and even did better. I think some of the Aztec pyramids are even freaking bigger than the Aztec, are even bigger than the pyramid, or even better than the biggest pyramid in Egypt. I think one of them actually.
But those are step pyramids. That has a slight advantage.
Well, you could one step at a time. You mean?
They're closer to ziggurats than to.
The main thing I was surprised about was how well they actually implemented fucking obsidian in their weaponry. It takes a lot of craftsmanship to get obsidian weaponry good. Let's put it that way. That's made of glass, man.
The Maya
so sharp.
The Maya actually came closer than Europe did in terms of figuring out the correct length of the year.
Oh yeah, definitely. Europe was fucking retarded. Let's put it that way.
Well, Europe wasn't retarded. It was just that in that respect, Mayans were more advanced in that one particular respect.
Europeans were retarded. They thought that the fucking Earth was flat. It took them way too many years.
Everybody did.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, everyone did.
The Greeks didn't. The Greeks didn't believe that the Earth was flat.
There were multiple cultures, so it's actually kind of a myth that that people believed the Earth was flat a lot in the Middle Ages. Some of the peasantry might have believed it to a certain extent, but the upper class did not.
Yeah, like as soon as you had an education, you just go, oh yeah, the Earth is round. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah,
so like Europe, when you're saying Europeans, usually people in history, when they're talking history, Europeans, they think of the upper educated people. You got the higher noble class and the peasantry, but most nobles had an education of sorts, and they would know.
Yeah,
okay, the Earth is round. Like the thing that was more argued over, which is like something a bit harder to figure out, is whether is it Earth-centric or heliocentric.
Yeah, and they would have in the Middle Ages. They would have been mostly geocentric because that's what they'd inherited from the Greeks, and they had at that point no information that contradicted that.
Yeah, because they had like two pyramids that they actually said like, all right, we're gonna look at the shadow from one place to another place, and then see if the pillars actually show the same shadow, which they didn't.
Well, yeah,
At the
and
same time.
it's also the invention of the telescope helped.
Oh hell yes!
Yeah,
Also,
it's
Trip says something very funny. Have you ever noticed that all streams end up talking about history? Usually European history. Well, I'm a European. I know things about European history more than anything else, so I would like to share my expertise upon that part.
okay. Trip. Okay, I'm gonna go on the right. So the funny thing is, Trip. I went to Barnes and Noble. I go to Barnes and Noble frequently, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna pick up a history book, a general history book of Korea, Vietnam, Africa, India. Something that's not European. And you know what I see in the shelves? Of course, you got a huge shelf of U.S. history. Makes sense. We're in America. Americans.
America, fuck yeah.
I expect Americans to have a lot of books about America. But then you got a whole bunch of military history, fine. And then you got a shelf of European. Then no books on Korean history. No books on Vietnam. The only one book I saw on Indian history was relationship to them being colonized by the British. Same with Africa.
I would bet that if there had been a book about Vietnam, it would have been about the Vietnam War, and it would be mainly America-centric.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was like, part of me is like, you know what, I need to just do my own. Just do my own, make my own history book, general history book to be put on Barnes & Noble so that people can actually appreciate.
So sorry, you guys were busy with Vietnam while we were rebuilding our country, all right? It got a little bit bombed to the ground back in the day.
Yeah, annoying.
Yeah, I don't know who did it. It was probably our neighbors, but, we cannot complain about our neighbors. We're the best buds now, so...
But you would think somebody else would write a general history anytime.
Oh, we did.
There must be general histories available. You can maybe you can find one on BarnesandNoble.com if you don't, or something. But there have to be.
I believe we actually have Indian history in the stores. Technically, we have Indian history books and the Dutch history books, which means that we are everything about spice trades and how we treated them back in the day, casually, and how we looked at America, how we founded it, and how we created it. And then suddenly the British are like, it's mine now. And then we're like, all right, $10. Sure, thanks. We sold it because we don't want to have wars. We are such assholes. We were just like, all right, we have this bit of the place, we have that bit, and that bit. How about Indonesia? Yeah, sure, we have that as well. And then Portugal's like, guys, I have an economic crisis. Not my problem.
And the Dutch was like, no.
Also, the Spaniards were fucking assholes. They went broke in the 80 Years' War.
Whoops.
That was just my phone.
The Spaniards we made the Spaniards broke, by the way. We went broke. It was the 80 Years' War against Spain, against France, and against Britain. We made Spain totally broke, bankrupt and all. That tiny little country, by the way. That tiny little country near Germany and Belgium. A piece of shit land. Because somehow they didn't want us to be a different kind of religion.
Yeah,
that was it all about.
Yeah, they wanted you guys to convert to Catholicism, right?
Yeah. Indeed.
They wanted. It's not.
We had, thanks to them, we had fucking 3 civil wars after that.
Well, the Dutch were not totally Protestant at that point. They were of both religions, and they wanted to suppress. The Spanish wanted to suppress a particular faction that was Protestant.
Yeah, because they were literally beating up all the trade notes, which means that they had the VOC with them, which was a pain in the ass because the VOC was like, well, we are technically a company that doesn't abide to anybody's rule, but according to Rule 65 to 89, we are technically also responsible for this, but we are not accountable for this, and it's such a, it's like, oh, here have a rule, and we are totally overruling everything, and then the Spanish were like, they just took our land. It's like, we didn't took your land. It was them. And then the other one like, no, we didn't took your land. You gave us permission. And it's like, and then the Spanish were like, fuck this. Nope. Fucking declare heresy on those people. Deals fooled on them. And then they had a lot of mercenaries. Those mercenaries were, by the way, not nice. They raped, killed, and enslaved a lot of people. So, yeah. They also burnt them onto stakes, so casually, normal things to do. But yeah, we don't like that's why we don't like the French. Because the French did it again. First you have the Spanish, then you had the French, and then you also had the fucking then you had Germany constantly knocking on the doorstep like, "Hey, I want that piece of land." And we're like, "No, we want that land." "No." "Okay, fine, we declare war." "Motherfucker, we're not gonna give up." "Okay, we're gonna bomb your marketplaces." "You son of a bitch." That's why we gave up, by the way, because our economical went like bam, down to the ground. Otherwise, we would have probably taken at least 3 months instead of 2 weeks.
Dutch history must be a riot.
Oh, it is. It's a blast. It's all about money. And I mean, it's all about money. From the early Middle Ages to late World War II, it was all about money. And in the end, we made Indonesia broke. So we took that money. We did a lot of with it, but we took the money. We're the good guys, by the way. We won the war.
So I do have a question. Since we went huge on off topic with the history talk, what is that one movie, game, TV show that you think did diversity of like exploring a culture you've never seen before that made you really enjoy it because of that element?
You mean like
I would say Game of Thrones actually did it initially pretty well. I would say that in terms of other things, let me see. In terms of books, I would say that this was done pretty well in The First Law by Joe Abercrombie.
There's a bit of it in Stormlight Archive. You've got it's sort of complicated. You've got the Parshendi, and you've got the humans, so-called. The Parshendi are actually human-like too, though, and the whole history of that. And then within the humans, you've got the light eyes versus dark eyes thing. So it's the color of your eyes, not the color of your skin, that matters. So there's some sort of interesting stuff there, but it's generally hard to find examples.
I would say
I didn't discuss anything last night.
let me think.
So I do have a cool one that is very brought up when it comes to DreamWorks.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Sinbad.
Oh, Sinbad. Yes.
It's been a long time. It's a film that I've been really wanting to watch in a long time, but I always like that movie.
Yeah. I would definitely say that Sinbad is great because it's actually a really good exploration of Greek culture. And it's a really good retelling of the story of the two friends. I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but it's the one where this guy basically stands substitution for his friend. And while the other guy tries to clear his name / get his affairs in order.
Yeah.
I wish there was more Sinbad films.
Has anything been done based on Australian Aboriginal stories?
Probably not.
I doubt it.
Oh.
If you actually ever want to have a good old fucking Dutch, a Dutch culture series that actually was very popular back in the day, I would recommend Alfred's Dokus Kwak.
Who?
Alfred's Dokus Kwak. Alfred Jadokus Kwak. It's about a duck that loses his family and then gets taught by a mole about how to grow up.
That sounds cute.
It has very good how do you say that? It has like multiple cultures in it. Like, you know, you immediately spot the German person. Trust me, you know. So
a
yeah,
character named Dolph.
yes, Dolph, such an asshole.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and it is fully Dutch. Yes, I know, but it teaches it teaches the children so much. It's great. It's a very good, like, you know immediately, like, if you just this is the guy. This is the. By the way, I'll show you Dolph. It's very funny. This guy you immediately know, like, oh yeah, that's representing the German. Yeah, that is indeed the German. Look, come on. Do I really need to do an alt tab for it again? Jeez. All right.
It's really well known that everyone in Germany is named Adolf.
Yes, it's Dolph, man. Here you go, a YouTube episode for it. And yeah, this guy, it's very like, you know, you have multiple cultures. Like, you have the French in it as well, which is quite funny. But also you have Germans in it. You have Little Lady, the nations that the Netherlands were close to, like, I believe, what is it called? The South African parts as well. So yeah, it's great. It's a multicultural thing, and I like about it.
Cool.
It was, by the way, made by the animation was actually made by a Japanese studio. We literally overseas it, which is great.
Oh, does that make it anime?
Yes, technically,
so.
yes.
Oh no.
White Collar. Oh, that's actually a good example. White Collar, I think, is a good example. It's easier to do diversity in modern stuff because you can more accurately represent the world that we live in, because unless you go somewhere like Kansas where it's fairly monoethnic, or pieces of Europe where it's pretty monoethnic, you can pretty much find diversity most places in the modern world.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, if you don't take place in a city, you'll come across more mono-ethnicism as opposed to cities, which are just automatically going to be way more multi-ethnic than the standard country.
Well,
surrounding area.
the fun thing is we have actually pretty much in my village, for instance, we have actually Turkish people. We have immigrants that are, you know, taking shelter as well, but we also have just, you know, casual ass fucking Dutch people, which hate the Polish people. The Polish people hate the Romanian people, and the Romanian people, you know, they just come here for cheap labor. So yeah,
That's juicy, cheap labor.
yeah, it's great. It's great. It's such a lovely place, and The fun fact is, nobody hates each other, but it's commonly known, all right? It's commonly known to just like, yeah, everybody just sticks to their own stick, and they sometimes cross over, but it's not that much.
Well,
It's a very, how do you say that? You focus on yourself foremost, and then everybody else. Yeah, that's the culture in this place, which pretty much aligns with other cultures as well, I believe. But yeah.
Yeah.
Kansas, Lamau. Wow, already 2 hours and 20 minutes in. Damn, we are pretty much on our end.
yeah, I think that we're doing pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, me too. I think I said enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just. Is there any other final thoughts that anybody wanted to talk about before we kind of close up? I think we've.
Don't do what Blizzard does.
Oh yes, don't cancel PvE.
I just found out that they made Farah a lesbian. So
Who a lesbian?
What?
Wait, who a lesbian?
What? Wait! They made the medic lesbian.
they
mean
made,
what?
they
Then
made the
Eve-
Egyptian jetpack girl a lesbian.
Oh God, that
And
bitch.
so as the joke with Overwatch is, oh no, something bad happens at Blizzard. Quick, make another character gay.
And then you have the Team Fortress 2 meme. Women.
Yeah. So in terms of
Oh
what
jeez.
culture you're inspired by, we're talking basically about world building, and of course you have to change it up and make it more interesting because even the cultures that are based on Europe in fantasy, they change things. Westeros is not exactly like medieval Europe,
Nope.
for example,
Right.
and Middle Earth is even less like medieval Europe. Middle Earth is really. I mean, Middle Earth is God knows what.
It's like more of like you could definitely tell with some of the inspirations, like Rohan is Anglo-Saxon,
Yeah.
and then it's like different parts of English history
Yeah,
in terms of cultures, and then you got like the general other cultures of like hints of what the other cultures would be like, but not really focused on.
Yeah, the hobbits are basically late Victorian England, or maybe Edwardian, late Victorian, early Edwardian England.
I think I am most inspired. My drawings are most inspired by Roman texture and Greek texture, but then also a little bit more of Mediterranean kind of texture to it as well.
The myth of Atlantis is in there as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But-
so it's a matter of branching out in terms of your world building, and maybe being a little bit eclectic and taking things from different cultures, as long as you can do it believably and not in a kind of a cringy way. It's kind of weird in Dune, for example, where you've got the languages all over the place. It's Arab, it's fake Arabic, then it's like bad Latin, and it's all mixed up.
Mm.
You got a whole world that's basically Arabia, but then it's in the context of middle-aged nobility.
And then you've got the Volksrad, which is Dutch, but then you've got everything else and all this other stuff that's Latin and Arabic and God knows what.
I still don't know, how does Dutch sound towards you people?
Say something in Dutch.
Oké, waar hebben we het vandaag over?
It sounds mostly like German.
It sounds like
Yeah.
a sloppier version of German.
Well, you are correct. It's
Because
actually
German would be more like this. Haben Sie
Yes.
Feuer?
The main problem of the Dutch language is it is technically a combination of Dutch and English and French, which really sucks. But we are very good people with. We have very good traits with the Japanese, so we are good here. We are likable by most fucking countries because we are one of the most biggest food suppliers in the world. Ah.
Yeah, nobody hates the Netherlands.
Yes, exactly. You know, we don't shove religion in people's face. We just like our spices.
Fair enough.
Fucking spices. Ah. Anyway, I think we can
Alrighty.
sum it up here.
Alrighty. Well, that'll be all for today. Thank you, everybody, for coming. This was a good topic. But we will do something interesting tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can find the quest adult version. We might even be able to stream that on YouTube. We'll see. Since I didn't get a copyright claim on that when I uploaded it to YouTube. But we will call it good for today. See you guys.
Have a riot.
That's it.
Auf Wiedersehen.